first ever bikini golf skins winner. Oh, she's hit a great shot.
Down.
Is it gonna be?
Down.
Oh yeah,
Down.
she's inside of Maggie.
Presumably you're here because you hate golf, or alternatively you're here because you love golf and hate me. My name's Abby. I've been known to privately amongst my friends and family and publicly on TikTok and Twitter discuss my deep, deep hatred for golf. Hate's a strong word though. I don't hate golf. I just think that golf is a racist, sexist, environmentally destructive sport for capitalists that represents everything wrong with modern society. Maybe I hate it a little bit. But we do not hate blindly. Blind hatred is bad. Informed hatred, on the other hand, I mean, that's fine by me. I have a degree in environmental science and I'm about to begin my master's in climate studies, so my hatred for golf is very environmentalist. I was going to start this channel with a video on the environmental impacts of golf, but I realized that to understand why golf is so environmentally destructive, we've really got to understand the history of this sport. Oh, if you came here to comment that golf is a sport, you're wrong. If you can play it with a cigarette in your mouth, it's not a sport. That's done. End of discussion. Oh, also, I have a lot of citations, like way too many to fit in the description, so I'm just going to link a Google Doc down below with all of my sources because we stand citations here. So, the Scottish are generally credited with the invention of golf around the 15th century, but it is debated. The Dutch had a similar sport in the 14th century. The Song dynasty in China invented a similar game well over 1,000 years ago. The ancient Romans had a stick and ball game in like 100 BCE. Honestly, it's just not that shocking that multiple civilizations looked at a ball and thought, oh, I bet I can get it over there faster than you can. It's like monkeys typing Hamlet. Given enough time, every society will invent golf. But technically speaking, the Scottish are the first ones who put the hole in the ground. The first documented mention of modern golf as we know it is the 1457 Act of Scottish Parliament banning golf because it distracted people from archery. The monarchy was weak and they thought golf distracted Scottish men from their military training. Golf got banned 2 more times in 1471 and 1491 before it was legalized at the start of the 16th century. Now we start seeing royals partaking. There's documentation of King James IV playing golf in 1502. We see Mary, Queen of Scots, gets criticized for playing golf, but that's just because she did it while she was also being a woman, and she should have known better. Shame on her. If golf had stayed in Scotland, I wouldn't hate it as much. Scotland has the terrain for golf, and this is important when we discuss the environmental impacts of golf, but it's gonna have to be a separate video. I don't have time. Alas, it doesn't stay in Scotland. In the late 19th century, the plague known as golf starts to spread internationally. So in 1880, England has 12 golf courses. By 1914, it has 1,000. Everywhere the British Empire touches gets golf courses because colonization tastes better when you're golfing. And this 1880 to 1920 period is what spreads golf into the United States. And the United States is what brings golf from this to this.
Oh yeah,
Down.
she's inside of Maggie.
So prior to World War I, golf is really just a game for the social elite in the suburbs of eastern coastal cities in the US. It's pretty popular at Harvard and Yale, and it's just for the rich. The Roaring 20s are considered the golden age of sports because remember when sports were better? You know, when like women and like black people weren't allowed? Yeah, the golden age. Baseball, football, boxing, horse racing, golf, all boom. Golf is still predominantly a northeastern game, but it starts migrating to the north-central regions of the US, and then slowly to the west coast and to the southeast. Following World War II, the US sees this dramatic economic and population growth. People are living longer, making more money, retiring earlier, and the emerging white middle class has more leisure time, so they spend it golfing and suppressing their same-sex attraction. With the rise of the automobile, we get white flight from urban areas into suburban and rural areas. And golf is a land-heavy activity, but the US has all this cheap land because it was, hold on, it'll come to me. Stolen. The land was stolen. Cheap land makes constructing golf courses cheaper and lowers the barriers of entry to the game. So this game that was historically associated with financial success is now accessible to the suburban middle class. And now the middle class has television. Obviously today, watching something as boring as golf on TV sounds like a form of torture, but in like the 50s and 60s, it was all the rage.
Ted Cole making a strong bid. The final day is one of the most exciting ever seen in the Open.
American golfers like Sam Snead and Arnold Palmer become celebrities. I actually don't know who Sam Snead is, probably because no one named a drink after him. It's monkey see, monkey do. Monkey see President Eisenhower golf on TV, monkey wants to golf now. So now basically everyone wants to play golf, and there aren't enough golf courses to meet public demands. So from 1963 to 1975, the U.S. Department of Agriculture subsidizes the construction of over 1,000 different recreation facilities. So that's swimming pools, tennis courts, baseball fields, and over half of which go to public golf courses. Between 1970 and 2000, more than 7,000 of these hellscapes open across the U.S. In the 70s, when business owners started moving to the Sun Belt, the baby boomers follow them, and where the baby boomers go, the golf courses follow. They all basically arrive in Arizona, look around, and they're like, you know what this desert needs? A lawn. I'm fine. This is fine. I'm having fun. Also, in this period, we see the strange intertwining of country club courses and affluent suburbs. Real estate developers built golf courses into their developments because they could market it as an amenity and a community aesthetic and sell the property for more. Even today, golf courses are second only to water when it comes to enhancing land value. So most people who live around golf courses don't even golf. They just like the aesthetic and the feeling of exclusivity. So now we live in a country where 12% of the golf courses are just part of master planned communities. They're literally just there so that developers can charge more for the houses. I'm good. Towards the end of the 20th century, we get retirees moving to Phoenix, Tucson, Sun City, Palm Springs, literally anywhere in Florida. And they all move to these communities that are built around golf courses. Golf has one singular redeeming quality. It's pretty accessible. Not like financially or geographically or socially, but physically for old retired people it makes sense as an activity. But so does birdwatching, and birdwatching has better fashion. Between permanent residents and snowbirds, the southern half of the US gets saturated with private golf courses. I wanted to include a tangent about how private golf clubs essentially allow for legal discrimination, but honestly, the history of racism and sexism in golf is so deep and so disgusting that it just warrants its own video. So in the late 20th century, the US is sufficiently covered in golf courses, and I mean covered. Today, the US has 43% of the world's golf courses. 43! But Americans don't stay in the US. No, they like to travel and go on vacations. And what do they want to do when they're on vacations? Don't make me say it. They like to golf. Hey, you know that game that we play on North American land made to look like Scottish land? What if we could play it on Japanese land? A lot of East Asian countries start building golf courses as fast as they can in the late 80s and 90s to bring in affluent Western tourists. And this is when we start to see an anti-golf movement because, shockingly, people don't want to see their homelands destroyed. Who knew? Giant businesses would buy up the land around villages, essentially forcing them to sell their property. Literally, golf course developers in northern Thailand told an elderly Thai woman, "If you don't sell voluntarily, you'll have to buy a helicopter to use every time you leave your house, because whenever you go out and pass our land, we'll sue you." In Indonesia, the construction of a golf course in West Java displaced nearly 300 people in 1991. But don't worry, the villagers were paid 1.5 cents per square meter of land. After losing their land, villagers generally ended up laborers on their own land or forced into urban slums. But who cares? The men have to make business deals. 1990 sees the Oka crisis, in which the Mohawk people refused to let the town of Oka, Quebec, expand their golf course on their lands.
When the course announced plans to expand onto other land considered sacred, the Kanesatake Mohawks took to the barricades, and they've been there ever since.
It lasted 78 days and did eventually end with the cancellation of the golf course expansion. Then, when the mayor of Tepozteco, Mexico, signed permits allowing for a golf course and country club to be built on their land, 8,000 Tepoztecans marched to City Hall. And when they got there, the mayor and the city council had fled. So they took it over, declared it null and void, and then barricaded the city, and then banned national political parties from participating in local elections because they were sellouts. The global anti-golf movement, aka GAGM, was launched on World No Golf Day, April 29, 1993. The leader of GAGM writes an anti-golf manifesto. I'm not usually one for manifestos, but this is gold. The web design is from the 90s. It exists only in archive form. I know what you're thinking, of course. Abby, does it have rainbow text? Yeah. Oh yeah, it does. It's so good. You know how some web pages just look like they're gonna tell you 9/11 was an inside job? To be fair, the man who wrote this manifesto, Jen Morita, did later get into 9/11 conspiracy theories, but the manifesto still holds up. I'll link it below because it genuinely is a masterpiece. I have good news though, golf is dying. Our job is to help it die faster. The number of regular golfers fell from 30 million in 2002 to 21 million in 2016. Some people blame the recession, some people blame Tiger Woods for being gross. Mostly it's just that millennials don't want to waste their time playing an elitist sport with zero health benefits. They do CrossFit instead. Really did a 180 there. The US has over 16,000 golf courses. That's about 2.5 million acres of golf courses. That's more than 2 Rhode Islands, and there aren't that many golfers. We already have an abandoned mall problem, and we're about to have a serious abandoned golf course problem. That land could be used to grow food in food deserts, it could be home to solar farms that could power cities, or it could just be a public park space. All of those would be so much better than golf. If you've made it this far, you're at the end of the video. Congratulations. Thank you so much for watching all the way. Please subscribe and share and comment and help me spread the anti-golf gospel. And I'll see you in the next video.